Welcome back to this already the final segment of today's Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking about you and your business. You know, like clockwork, we are delighted always to have our friends in for the Rich Club, helping people get rich here in McClure. She's a regular, comes in here all the time, bringing interesting guests. This time, she brought my friend, who's also been a guest here before, Ray Sasser, and past president of the Rich Club. And before we get started with our guest, Ray, why don't you real quickly, Karen, tell us what Rich Club is all about. Remind a listener about that.
Okay. Rich is a nonprofit trade association, and our sole purpose is to make people successful real estate investors. We want everyone to be financially secure going forward, and we help them with education and negotiation, but education and networkings.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of negotiation, that was an odd segue. Yes. It always works, you know, segues are segues. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what Ray Sasser is going to be talking about here soon. But you told me before the segment you had a history question you wanted to stump me on. I hate being stumped, so maybe I should wait till the end so I won't
let's ask you now.
I won't be ugly
I'll ask you
the
question.
entire segment, you know. But anyway, go ahead.
I'll ask you now, and then you tell me at the end. Okay?
All right.
Just maybe keep people interested.
Watch, I'll cheat.
What was one of the primary reasons that Robert E. Lee lost at Gettysburg?
What was one of the primary reasons that Robert E.
It relates directly to negotiation.
Interesting. All right, let me stew on that.
Okay.
Which is, it'll be sad if I can't come up with something like this because I'm a huge Robert E. Lee fan, one of my greatest.
And a history fan.
And I'm a history, and I've actually written extensively on history and several articles on Civil War. So this is going to be embarrassing.
I think I have the answer.
Yeah, you know.
No, you got to wait till the end of the segment. Otherwise, people won't.
But I have to go take care of something. So my answer is he didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. All right. If he did, he'd be so much smarter when he had to negotiate. Right. But anyway, go ahead. Go ahead with your topic. I mean, what do you got coming up down the pike that we want people to be aware of? And Ray, you're going to be doing this seminar. Talk about what you're going to be doing in the area of negotiation.
Well, on February 1st, the first Saturday of every month, the Rich Club, for at least 34 years, has held their main event. And typically we'll have tips and information, networking, a lot of vendors there if you need information on what's out there to help investors. So that's happening Saturday. We usually will have a keynote speaker that's going to talk or discuss certain hot topics with real estate investors. They asked me this time to be the keynote speaker and talk about negotiation. And what we're going to do in that, we're going to break that down into two sections. The first section will be negotiation tactics and closings and strategies. We'll do that for about 45 minutes, and we'll cover 20 or 30 of the hot things that I use as a negotiator doing real estate deals, as a buyer or seller or property manager. And then the second part, we'll talk about specific things that you want to shoot for when you're a negotiator. Like, what are those things and why it's so important to be a good negotiator and how you can achieve your goals.
Okay. I think this is absolutely crucial information for individuals to know. And what I like about it is this is one of the many things that you do, Karen, over there at the Rich Club that translates beyond merely real estate.
Right.
I was telling Ray that I've read quite a few books actually over the years on negotiation. It's one of my favorite topics, and I tell you, it's like poker and chess on steroids. You got to know how to do it, and you got to figure out how to become emotionally detached to the whole process. And they love to roll you when you get too excited, I tell you. And so you've got to figure out how to stay cool, calm, and collected.
Yes, you do. And that's the hard part for me. My husband always does the negotiating because when I want something, I want it. And I tend to be, I'm not willing to walk away. So I wanted to ask Ray, how do you approach a negotiation? What do I need to have in my head to be good at it? Do I need to decide my outcome in advance or how do I start?
before this, Karen and I were talking for a few minutes, and I learned that she, according to the Briggs-Myers test, is the same as I am. I'm an INTP, and you don't
be calling people that here on my radio show. What is an INTP?
Well, it's a person that deals more with information and facts, and maybe don't have the social skills that somebody that's more outgoing might be, and so. Sorry about that.
Just ignore it.
Yeah, so a lot of things that my son takes for granted, being a master of the gift of gab, I can't take for granted. I have to actually have a plan. I have to know where I'm coming from, and so I have to work extra hard just to build that rapport. So to kind of answer Karen's question, the first thing I want to establish is the rapport. I want to try to figure out what like Linda says all the time, past president, to assess and then address, and spend a lot of time understanding what their problem is, and then have a lot of tools in my tool bag to give them the solution they need.
Yeah, I think tests like that, and they described me as a wallflower, which I found shocking. But anyway,
really?
No, I'm joking. Actually, it does say I gravitate towards introverted, which would probably surprise most. But you turn on mic light and something weird happens. But I'm a little on the introverted side according to those kind of personality tests. So and so people will learn. What will they learn? First of all, how long is it? How long is the seminar itself?
The event starts at roughly 8:30. People get there and network for 30 minutes, and then it goes to 9 o'clock, and then we have a break around 10:15, 10:20, and then we start up around 10:30, 10:40, and then it ends normally at 12. Sometimes we have an afternoon session. So the part that I'll be there for will be 90 minutes, and the two sections each will be more or less 45 minutes. And when I've done this before, we're not going to cover everything. It's going to be very interactive because I want to let the people, let us know what they need to know. But there's going to be a lot more material than we're going to be able to cover.
And when will it take place?
That will be February 1st from 9 to 12 at the Ridge Club at 4220 Lockfield, right? Mm-hmm. 4220 Lockfield.
Yeah, and it's a cool location. You need to check it out, ridgeclub.org. And while you're checking out ridgeclub.org, look at all the events coming up. They are incredibly busy, making it possible for entrepreneurs to take your business, their life, their money to the next level. And you gave me a hint with Jeb Stewart with your answer there. I got to tell the listener, I got to be honest, but I knew instantly. I just had to verify. So he got disconnected from Lee in that battle, essentially leaving Lee out to dry. He had no idea how many more troops and resources he had available. Essentially, Jeb Stewart had critical mass that could have been the game changer in that battle. And unfortunately, his failure to communicate, as they say, made poor Lee much more isolated than he actually was.
Yeah, in negotiation. And you hit it. And I didn't give you the answer. I just gave you a hint, and you took it. You nailed it. The intel is everything. When Jeb Stewart happened to be the cavalry, and he was the eyes and ears of Lee. And so Lee had to know where to be, how to be, what resources to bring to bear. And he didn't have that because Jeb Stewart wasn't there. And if you don't know, Gettysburg was probably the main turning point of the Civil War. And because he didn't have that information, he got a bad result. And it's changed the United States forever.
It has.
And information is everything. So as a negotiator, we want to, we got 2 ears and 1 mouth. We want to listen twice as much as we talk. And we want to find out where people are coming from, what they need. And if we can give the person what they need, we'll have a successful negotiation.
Jeb was also known as the Knight of the Golden Spur. He was a fascinating character, a great American. So was, people don't, now they're being discredited, but both Lee was a great American,
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, we have such a myopic view of what it required. They just disagreed, and they disagreed, for some pretty sound reasons historically. And unfortunately, we don't teach people how to think critically. And so therefore, you're a racist. No, it's so much more complicated than that. So anyway, but what a great topic. Thanks for stumping me today.
Yeah. Well, no, you got it. You did it. That hint is all you needed. That's such a broad question, so it wasn't fair. But when I narrowed it down,
it was very helpful. I appreciate that. Karen McClure and Ray Sasser, good friends to this program, great entrepreneurs helping everyone achieve the American dream through richclub.org. I'm Kevin Price. Have a great rest of your day and spend it right here.